Biological Sciences Convocation ceremony this morning. The University of Guelph is honored by our graduates, and we take great pride in this convocation. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the proceedings today. The ceremonials used for conferring degrees have evolved over a millennium, and the gowns and hoods represent that history. In general, the gowns for the baccalaureate and the magisterial degrees are black, and the color of the hood is different for each degree program. The doctorates at the University of Guelph have a bright blue gown, and the honorary degrees are an even brighter color. The University of Guelph crest that you see on the curtains behind me and shown on the cover of the Convocation program also represents our specific history. The emblems in the crest show links with the Royal City of Guelph through the white stallion above, the connection to the liberal arts through the book, to the sciences through the astrolabe, and our connection to abundance and agriculture through the cornucopia. The University of Guelph motto, Rerum cognoscere causis, is a quote from Virgil. It is variously translated to be either happy is the one who is able to ascertain the reason of things, or perhaps to know the meaning of things. The procession of people into the hall is also influenced by ancient tradition. The piper will herald the start of the procession of graduands, the students who are coming to graduate today. This will be followed by the arrival of the mace leading the platform party. The mace is a symbol of authority of the university and will be carried by the beadle. In medieval universities, a beadle was chosen by the instructor to work as an assistant. Today, the beadle is the ceremonial officer of Senate. Following the beadle and the mace is the chancellor, members of the administration and the honorees, fellows of the university, members of the board and senate, and members of faculty and staff. The degrees will be conferred in the order that you see in your program. The degrees are separated by categories representing the specific degree being awarded within the college. The name reader will announce the degree being awarded at the start of each category. As the name of each student is called, the beadle will place the hood over the recipient's shoulders. This moment will be videoed, and, technology willing, there will be a simultaneous live cast of the event to allow family members and friends to watch from a distance. The chancellor will then confer the degree. We understand the joy and excitement accompanying such an auspicious occasion, but we ask that you hold your applause until after each group of graduates has crossed the stage. There will be an opportunity for a truly thunderous applause after each group has graduated. Once all the degrees are conferred and all the cheers are cheered, the chancellor will then close the ceremony and a recessional will play. Please remain standing during the recessional until all the platform party and all the graduates have processed out of the hall. May I be the first person to congratulate the graduands on their various successes and offer my congratulations to the family and friends who are here to support them. Welcome to Convocation at the University of Guelph.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
I invite you to receive these words of invocation. On this day of celebrated accomplishment, we are filled with gratitude, thankful for the land that sustains us, thankful that our diverse paths have been brought together, thankful for the friends and the families that have supported us, for dedicated faculty and committed administration. As we step off this stage and into the rest of our lives, may our knowledge be coupled with wisdom that we might bring healing to the land. May we be filled with continued wonder and compassion that we might enrich the lives of those around us. Enable us to explore and embrace so that all of life might experience reconciliation. In the gift of love we pray. Amen. You may be seated.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. Vice Chancellor, members of the board, fellows, faculty and staff, family and friends, and graduands, welcome to the celebration of Convocation at the University of Guelph. I'd also like to extend a special welcome this morning to our honorary degree recipient, Robert Farquharson, who will be formally introduced to you in a moment. I'm Maureen Mancuso, the Provost and the Vice President Academic, and I'm privileged to have the honor of opening this ceremony on behalf of the university. And I would like to officially congratulate you, our graduands, on your momentous achievement. I hope you will join me in thanking the many people, family, friends, and mentors who have supported, encouraged, and assisted you in the pursuit of your studies. Today, we mark the end of one chapter of your lives and the beginning of a new one. You made it here today through years of effort and hard work. Now it's time to turn towards other goals and new challenges of increasing complexity and impact. Your journey of learning did not begin here at Guelph, nor does it end here today. If anything, it builds upon your experiences of the last few years to become more arduous, more enlightening, more productive, and more fulfilling. You came here to develop the possibilities and resources of your own minds. You came here to change your lives, to devote some time to learning essential skills and acquiring knowledge, to challenge yourselves and extend your capabilities. Here, in our community of scholars, you had the freedom to learn about the world and to learn about yourself. We hope you learned a great deal about how you will fit into and affect the world. We hope you see your path more clearly and that you see how your contributions on that path can lead to a better world. We have tried to help you prepare by opening your eyes to ideas you might not have encountered, cultures of which you are unaware, perspectives that complement and sometimes contrast with your own. We have tried to help you to think critically, to reject simplistic answers to complex questions, and to refuse the empty satisfaction of half-truths and partial solutions. Ultimately, though, we have shared with you one fundamental lesson. There is always more to learn. It's now up to you to start applying that lesson and those skills. We send you forth as representatives of the University of Guelph. We know you will make us proud, and we hope you're proud to wear the Guelph name. As you probably noticed, even when you were first applying to universities, we eagerly call attention to the exploits of our graduates. Be one of those people whose accomplishments we trumpet. Be someone who makes a mark on the world. Someone who demonstrates the power and the potential of higher education. Take this responsibility seriously, because to quote my favorite fake U.S. president, the West Wing's Jed Bartlett, decisions are made by those who show up. So now I say to you graduates, flush with the pride and powers of the finest education we know how to provide, show up. Show up in your own lives and live them critically, live them wisely. Show up in the lives of others, family, friends, and strangers, and make them better, directly or indirectly, however you can. Show up in the world, not just as pictures on Facebook, but as someone who makes a difference, even if that difference is harder to discern and doesn't go viral on YouTube. Most especially, show up as active, aware, caring citizens of your country, your city, your world. And today that includes voting in the provincial election. Wherever your future leads you, please don't forget that even though you may no longer be on campus, you are still part of our community. Your association with Guelph, like your journey of learning, is lifelong. We hope you will feel welcome to return from time to time to share your accomplishments with your fellow alumni, your former professors, and the future students who will follow in your footsteps. And so once again, I bid you welcome. Enjoy this ceremony, take pride in what it represents, and remember all of those who have helped to make this day possible. I offer you my personal congratulations and every best wish.
Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate of the University of Guelph, it is my great privilege to present to you W. Robert Farquharson for the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Bob Farquharson is a leading Canadian businessman, a dynamic and engaged philanthropist, a champion of education, and a longtime friend and supporter of the University of Guelph. He is Director and Vice Chairman of AGF Management Limited, one of Canada's premier investment management companies, and also serves as Chairman of AGF Asset Management Asia Limited and AGF International Advisors Company Limited. Since beginning his career at AGF as an analyst 50 years ago, Bob Farquharson has earned a reputation for taking a long-term approach to wealth generation, focusing on companies with excellent management and growth potential. Mr. Farquharson is known for investing in the people and organizations he believes in, and he believes in the University of Guelph. He has provided outstanding advice and support to numerous initiatives at the U of G. He was instrumental in the creation of the Science Complex, serving as co-chair of the Science Complex Campaign Cabinet. He brings valuable financial expertise and perspective to the university's Board of Trustees and to the advisory councils for the Better Planet Project. He has also served on the Development Committee of the Board of Governors and was an Alumni Programs volunteer in 2012. Along with his wife Gail, who we're delighted is also here today, Bob Farquharson has a passion for improving the human condition, and together, Bob and Gail are committed investors in the area of health and science. In particular, Mr. Farquharson has brought his leadership and guidance to the President's Advisory Board for the Health for Life initiative. This landmark program is focused on improving the health of Canadians by active intervention to reduce the risk of chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. These are overwhelmingly the most significant challenges in the sustainability of our current healthcare system. Bob's commitment and support has enabled the Guelph Family Health Study researchers to build a world-class program which will help generations of families with young children make healthy nutrition and lifestyle choices and reduce the risk of chronic diseases later in life. We are proud to recognize his tremendous contributions to the University of Guelph and his ongoing partnership in support of education and research innovation. I now ask you, Mr. Chancellor, to confer upon W. Robert Farquharson the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
By the authority of the Senate of the University of Guelph, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Farquharson will now deliver the address.
Thank you very much, the Senate. Can't believe that you chose me as a candidate and eventual Doctor of Laws. Here I am in front of you. You guys have worked hard for a number of years. I didn't have to write any exams. I didn't have to prepare a thesis. I didn't have to defend a thesis. And I've got this glorious recognition. What a marvel. And Maureen, your address is simply marvelous. And thank you so much for eliminating a good part of my discussion here before you today. So I do cast myself back 51 years to my graduation at the age of 22, getting my Bachelor of Commerce, having gone through many of the feelings that you've gone through. And you know what I found afterwards was that I got through, did okay, got my BCom, and that was in part what I tried to do. That was really interesting for me, and I thought it was really fascinating. But what I didn't realize until afterwards, that degree, that experience at university opened up my mind to learning in so many ways, partly because of the people that I met, both on faculty and in the student body. Amazing people, brilliant, fun, very active partiers, all of those things, but at the same time, you know, I felt that I learned how to learn, how to study, how to conduct a good part of my life after graduation. And also, you know, the social experience that you have experienced, you know, have felt and sometimes endured, sometimes been thrilled by at university is so important, because it is the first time, at least was for me, where there are a huge number of people involved in various areas of study. And I was fortunate enough to make a lot of friends in different areas, whether it was law or medicine or engineering or the social sciences. It was really quite expanding from my perspective, because, you know, as you're going through university, you kind of think of your own studies, in my case economics, and yours various aspects of biology. By the way, you kind of make me nervous because you're looking at me from a biological standpoint, and, you know, I'm over the hill, I'm deteriorating, but I don't believe it, by the way. That's just a story to make us older people grow old gracefully and admit that we're no longer able to participate in society fully. But we try, and we will succeed. Yes, you know, politicians are now paying attention to graying Canadians. We have lots of votes, and actually we are so thrilled that we have so many graduates, young graduates coming on to give our country more stimulus. Really important to me, really important to you, and that recognition, which Maureen talked about, of you entering a new phase of life, a new phase of learning, a new phase of, to use an overused word, accountability. When you were first enrolled here at the U of G, you know, you were accountable to yourself. You're always accountable for yourself, but don't ever forget that. But you were also, you know, reliant on parents and friends and a few teachers, and now, you know, that much more limited group of people is going to expand, and expand dramatically. Just think about the coworkers that you will be with pursuing your career, whatever that career is in future. So you have these people who are, their success is going to be a function in part of your success. If you're working for a company, the success of that company, for your bosses, for your shareholders, if it's a public company, which I historically have been very interested in, you know, you're part of that accountability. And it's thrilling. It is thrilling because you will make a difference. You'll make a difference for yourself, very important. You'll make a difference for your fellow workers. You'll make a difference for the investors. And they're important. They're important because they actually provide the capital which is necessary for you to be able to do your work. They provide the working capital, they provide, so for your wages, they provide, you know, the long-term sustainability of the operations that you're involved with. They are really important factors in how your life, if you're in the corporate sector, will persist. Of course, if you're not in the corporate sector, you're in the public sector somewhere. And that, you know, that again, it means that you are very, very important to how we spend our money in governments efficiently, effectively, and in a timely manner. So this is a big obligation, and you're actually going to see it when you look at your deposits from your employer. You're going to read down this list of deductions, and there's your pension fund deduction, and maybe a corporate one. There's obviously the government plan that will slice off a chunk of dough. There may be a provincial one, I'm not sure it's needed, but it's still a possibility. Then, there's the gift fund, and then this great big one, income taxes. Aha, what's this all about? Well, you had a free education, you thought. You pay, not entirely free. You had to dig in your pockets and into your parents' pockets and a few other pockets. But the taxpayer, through the government, wants the money back. So here you are, forking out some money that you really never thought about having to, pay back. And on top of that, you're required to invest in the next cohort of students. So this is really good that you look at this payment that you're making on a regular basis, because in my view, a lot of that money is well spent. It's a good investment for you to make. But never forget that taxes can be for good or evil. So there is a level that you should be standing up and saying, enough, what's going on here? And that, kind of leads me into just a few comments on people, because really, in the end, as an investor, we invest in people. We will invest in you. You will be part of a spectrum of various talents that will be relied upon in the future. I think of individuals as opposed to groups of people, in the sense that groups are made up of individuals, but individuals are really important. So I would suggest that as you go ahead, you think about, this is a word you may never have heard about before, anti-fragile. People who are anti-fragile. They are the great entrepreneurs often of our world. Anti-fragile, what does that mean? It means that you're not fragile. Well, how do you not be fragile? Well, in financial terms, it's you don't have too much debt, so that if you run into bad times, you're okay, you're a survivor. And anti-fragile means that you aren't overly consumed with the fears that arrive from time to time. In fact, what you do is look at the issues of the day and say, aha, I can do something in this environment. This is a terrific opportunity for me. Let's think about what we can do rather than bemoan the situation of the day. That's an anti-fragile person. Bold, but not careless. Bright, but not, not so much so that they have an ethic that is kind of outside of the norm. Honest, open, all of these criteria, which you probably have thought about, obviously intelligent, bright, good communicators, and we need some of you to appear. And the other point, though, is that you want to support these extraordinary individuals because they will create jobs. They will create growth in our country. So enough about anti-fragile. And I just want to say it is important to me that I mention it, because when I looked at the various opportunities that arose from a philanthropic standpoint, I really wanted to follow a course of action which I found quite proven in my world, my kind of real paper world, but it wasn't difficult for me to say, well, you know, the leadership in an organization is important. The culture in an organization is important. For me also, to make a difference, I wanted to find opportunities to help terrific organizations become better known. So when I got involved with Guelph, I took it on myself to try and open, you know, that crazy bunch of people in Toronto to the fact that there's a world-class institution just down the road. Just down the road. And we know about it, but in a very, very narrow way. So we put together lunches and speeches and trips out here to allow, you know, Torontonians who sometimes are too narrow in their views and in their experiences to see what was going on here. And I think it really helped. It really helped, and what was really fun for me was to have people like Alistair enthralling groups of individuals who had, you know, successful careers in their own right, but really knew also how to recognize opportunities to support and invest in. So that's, you know, the genesis of why U of G rather than any other place, even though I went to U of T. I did some things at U of T too, but my real upside from the point of view of my investment was here. It was here. The science complex, brilliant, a really brilliant idea. Putting various silos in the sciences and engineering and so forth together in the same environment. Economically, very sensible, share equipment, very expensive equipment. Each one of them could not possibly afford it. But also a place. Never forget a place. It's physical, even in cyberspace, you gotta remember there are places where people can talk freely, liberally, and share challenges and exchange ideas, even though they may be in widely different disciplines. So I thought this is really good, and I think it's working out really well. And I know from talking to the next president, Franco, that, you know, he has similar views and will be very complimentary to the efforts and successes that Alistair has given us here at, now I'm part of this university, so I'm going to say our university. I'm an alumnus now. So just let me say one thing about the social side. It's really important. What you gain here will last you forever. I have, of course, a wife right down in the front row who who caught who? Who was chasing who? I don't know. Anyway, we've survived happily most of the time. Almost 50 years of marriage, and it's all started out in university. Thank you. But beyond that, so social can be very expansive and expensive, by the way, and it will last. But the other thing about, and this is kind of my last comment about U of G, is that there is a humanity here that I find almost makes me cry. It's just so tangible, and I don't know why you're so special. Why you seem to care more than other people. Why your United Appeal raising is so brilliant relative to other universities. So just remember, you will gain a lot from being nice, from being kind. And I have only personal examples. I was on the Toronto Community Living Board. Toronto Community Living deals with learning challenged individuals. And we found ways to give independence to people who were challenged from a mental standpoint, sometimes physical as well. And I can tell you that the joy it gave those people to be able to say they had a job, because we found jobs for them, so they could get on, the subway. They learned how to do that themselves. They became, in their minds, and rightfully so, self-sufficient. They needed help. They knew that. But on the other hand, they had pride. So by being nice to people, kind to people, it's amazing what impact that will have on those people. They will become stronger people, more able to deal with their challenges, and you will feel really, really good about it. And you don't have to dip into your pocket either. It's your heart and your time. So this place is important. You'll remember it forever. And when you look back, you'll say, wow, what a big deal this was to attend U of G and earn my credentials. So I wish you all the best. You deserve all the best. And may your life be full of happiness and cheer, and will you take the challenges and turn them into creative solutions, because that is the way that we'll all win. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob, for those words of wise counsel and all of your support. Well, the moment has arrived. Will members of the graduating class please stand? Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate of the University of Guelph that they may be admitted to their various and several degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I hereby accept you to admission to your various and several degrees with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto.
Will members of the graduating class please be seated?
Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the formal presentation of our newest graduates, I have a small but significant request to make of you. Today is a day of great celebration and great excitement, and as your particular graduate crosses the stage, you may feel moved and inspired to reach out audibly to them in some way, and that's absolutely fine. In fact, we'd encourage it. But collectively, we would ask you to hold your applause until all the graduates have completed the procession, at which point I will give you the secret signal and you will be able to burst spontaneously into rapturous applause. Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Biological Science, that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science in the Honors Program. With distinction, Anita Akai. With distinction, Vivian Romero. With distinction, Gabriela Angelewska. Anahit Arathun. Kirsten Miranda Azar. Erica Dawn Bain. With distinction, Stephen Charles Orville Bolches. Tamizel Ann Barry. Ashley Nicole Beringer. With distinction, Melissa Nicole Belchos. Kelsey Bender. Julie Jacqueline Boulet. With distinction, Alexander Forrest Brown. With distinction, Daniel Robert Bruce. Julie Crystal Bryan and Darla. Kayla Campagna. Samantha Carvo. With distinction, Samantha Cicerella. Megan Elizabeth Jane Clench. With distinction, Sarah Catherine Coke Davis. Mark Andrew Coppola. With distinction, Chelsea Nicole Kumandoris. With distinction, Michael Thomas Coyne. Michael James Dagg. Kristen Anastasia De Castro. Shannon Mary De Groot. Brianna Lynn Denany. With distinction, Matthew David DeRose. Rebecca Marie Desmit. Kelsey Desnoyers. Claudia Maria Dirksen. With distinction, Stephanie Jean Doucette. Craig William Doucette. Jacqueline Estefania Dubon. Christine Joyce Doolal Whiteway. With distinction, Shauna Claire Ellis. Sean Espinola. With distinction, Mike Zooming Fan. Amy Victoria Gardner. Jeremy Gaylor. With distinction, Robin Goldstone. Crystal Marie Goringe. Chelsea Griswold. Natalie Helen Virginia Goulas. With distinction, Caitlin Jean Hamilton. Sarah Margaret Hamilton. Emily Rebecca Hazy. Emily Elizabeth Hawkins. Stephen Mason Holmes. With distinction, Adil Hussain. Blake Alexander Hutton. With distinction, Vidi Jadeja. With distinction, Mitra Jafari. With distinction, Navkiran Singh Jagdev. With distinction, Lauren Janser. Janika Chanel Jans. Andrew Jennings. Alison Emily Jepson. Donald Smith Johnson. With distinction, Jesse Martin James Kelly. Cassandra Carezi. Danielle Keshen. Christine Margaret King. Nora Kovac. With distinction, Georgia Kritikos. With distinction, Adam Jacob Quinter. Jason Michael Joseph Lanoux. Taylor Levine. With distinction, Brittany Christine Leeming. With distinction, Ava Liagati. With distinction, Keegan Lutic. Brianne Elizabeth MacDonald. With distinction, Krista Marie MacDonald. With distinction, Catherine McNaughton. With distinction, Jamie Maddox. With distinction, Rebecca Grace Manuel. With distinction, Candice Leslie Martins. With distinction, Amanda Evelyn McFadden. With distinction, Taylor Ann Mackay. With distinction, Jennifer Margaret McMartin. Matthew Jarrett Mendes. Divya Carol Morez. James William Morton. Yakov Musafia. Matthew Neum. With distinction, Christoph Neves. Noah Michael Nimmelman. Heather Genevieve Nowakowski. With distinction, Kelsey Amelia Paris. With distinction, Sumit Patel. Adam William Penn. Martin Bryson Phillips. Michael Popmer. Richard Gordon Preece. Andre Pecora. With distinction, Christina Pym. Simone Ranjit. Genevieve Renaud-Byrne. Alexander Benjamin Ritz. With distinction, Adam Mitchell Rosen. With distinction, Sarah Ann Ruggiero. Stephanie Christina Salvador. Thomas James Shepherd. Sola Shin. Juliana Scusa. Donna Ray Skivington. Danica Smith. Claire Emilia Snelling. Caitlin Margaret Spearing. With distinction, Olivia Jane Spahn. Nathan Joseph Stales. Daniel Scott Steffens. Emily Dawn Stewart. John Michael Saint-Germain. With distinction, Courtney Tate. With distinction, Carson Rachel Jean-Marie Theriault. Kaylee Ann Catherine Trewatha. Carly Michelle Turner. With distinction, Britta Van Leeuwen. Nigel Van Nieuwenhausen. Sean Varivoracle. Ashley Mary Venner. With distinction, Melissa Samantha Visser. Matthew Alexander Waltham. Emily Mary Walton. With distinction, Alexander Weiss. Melanie May Worth. With distinction, Carly Julia Wright. Alison Page Travers Zareski. Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Biological Science that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science in the general program. Joshua John Belletti. Jacob Sebastian Miles Citron. Joelle Isis. Michaela Catherine Kennedy. Sarah Jane Lay. With distinction, Rebecca Rampersad. Terence Carho Tang. Ramal Walazad. Vanessa Warren. Melissa Ann Ziegler. Mr. Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Biological Science that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences in the Honours Program. With distinction, Peter Ronald Dixon. Sarah Catherine Mark. Casey Michelle Weber. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been wonderfully restrained. It's time to raise the roof. Let's celebrate all of our graduates.
How about you give it up one more time for the dean, who did a great job with all the names. Mr. Chancellor, I would ask you to confer the various and several degrees on the graduates listed in the program, but unable to be present at this ceremony.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I confer the various and several degrees in absentia on the graduates not present.
Mr. Chancellor, so you did it. You are graduates of the University of Guelph. You are fully fledged Guelph Griffins. Congratulations. I wonder, though, if I could just spend a few moments talking with you about what it actually means to walk away from here a graduate from Guelph, a Guelph Griffin. Well, I'm sure you take away a great deal of knowledge. I'm guessing not the precise knowledge that you've covered in classes, because I suspect much of that has already evaporated from your brains. What I hope you take away from here, what you have learned, is what it means to be a critical, aware, and caring citizen. A person who actually knows how to use information to generate knowledge and wisdom. And above all, to care about the planet and the people around you. I trust that you are the kind of person who knows how to do things. A person who really wants to change lives and improve life. But before you go, I'd like to offer you some words of advice. I'd like you to think about being a Griffin and carry with you the Griffin Code. Because I think they will help you make a difference not only in your own lives, but more importantly in the lives of others. And so this code is a mantra, a series of words, all starting with the letter L, that I think will help define you, and perhaps on those days when you feel less confident, because let me assure you, no matter who you are or how successful you appear to be, we all have days, we all have moments when doubts creep in and wonder whether it's been worth it. So here are 7 L's to help you. Number 1, live. Live your life to the fullest, every single minute of it. Try everything at least once. You'll never know whether you really like something or not unless you try it. And you might just find that it's the most exciting thing you've ever done, or at least you'll have a funny story to tell people about the stupid thing that you tried to do. So live. The second is laugh. Laugh at yourself and others. Nothing should ever be too serious not to find something to laugh about. When I first started to work in the refugee camps in Kenya, I was truly puzzled. Despite the fact that these people have absolutely nothing. And in many cases, I was looking into the faces that were mere facades for the deep and unimaginable sadness and tragedy they had experienced. These people laugh. Why would they do that? And then I realized they laugh in the face of adversity to chase away the gloom and to defy despair. They laugh to make their own lives better and the lives of the people they laugh with. So live, laugh, learn. Never stop learning. Only by being alert to the changing world around you, by being flexible and alive to possibilities, and by really taking the time to learn about a situation, will you be able to live a life that is filled with possibilities, change, and hope. So live, laugh, learn, listen. Only by truly listening to others will you really understand what is going on in this world. But don't just listen to them. Listen to your own heart. Deep down, all of us have a passion, a voice, a moral compass, a sense of what is right or wrong, what makes us happy or sad. So listen to that heart and work tirelessly to hear the beating of its rhythms and the pulse of others, to know how to act with courage and commitment. Live, laugh, learn, listen, leave. Know when it is time to go, time to move on and leave others behind to take up the cudgels. Have confidence that the footprints you leave behind will make a difference because you have done a job well. Those prints will be an indelible mark on the lives of others, and the shifting sands of time will not wash them away, but create a permanent memento of what you have done, what you have been able to achieve through the lives of others. Live, laugh, learn, listen, leave. And the sixth is something we all need: luck. All of us require a little bit of special magic to see and to seize the opportunities. So be on the lookout for them, because there are opportunities everywhere. They happen all the time, but they so often come disguised in the work that you do. William Jefferson once wrote, opportunities, that's I think his word for luck, usually comes dressed in overalls. I think what he was saying was, you have to put effort into your own life in order to find the luck. Live, laugh, learn, listen, leave, luck. And I'm going to leave the seventh L to a demonstration. I'm going to ask you to stand up and turn round and give some thunderous applause to the people who have demonstrated the seventh L by being here and supporting you over all this time. So would the graduating class please stand? Turn round and applaud those people behind you. Okay, you can sit down. Did you notice a really, really neat piece of human behavior then? You stood up and started to applaud, and some of you went like this, and some of the people that you were facing went like this, and then it got bigger and bigger, and the people up there are going like this. That's the seventh L. So now that you are a fully fledged griffin, Go out and take on the world, because we really need you. In a world that is riven with injustice, that is challenged by dogma, prejudice, and disadvantage, our absolute hope is you. Do something. Do something. It would be tremendous if you decide to be one of those leaders taking on some of the most daunting challenges that this world faces. But I think there is something you could do that is far more important. And that is to make a decision now, this moment, that from every day here on, every day of your life, you will make the decision to make at least one person's life better. And how do you do that? Well, it's really simple. Do you remember this? Well, there's another absolutely unique trait to the human species that isn't found in any other animal. If you smile at somebody, no matter how miserable, no matter how angry, sad, fed up, depressed, if you keep smiling, they have to smile back, just like you're doing. And in doing so, you improve theirs and your own life. Find ways to include people of all ages and stages, all genders and races in everything that we do to make this a better planet. So, take your parchment, take the values and ideals that you've learned here, take your friendships that will last a lifetime, and armed with the Griffin Code, get out of here. Those of us that are left behind will be watching you with enormous pride. But before you go, I have one enormous favor to ask. You represent the future, and I would like to crave your indulgence whilst I take a selfie with you. I'll post that out on Twitter in a minute. After Convocation, the Dean has made arrangements for a reception in the atrium of the Science Complex. I really hope that you'll take the opportunity to attend and to say thank you to those people who have meant so much to you in so many different ways. Yesterday they promised torrential rain all day, and we got none. So I'm relying on the fact that they have promised us more torrential rain today, that we'll get none, and you will be able to go out and take lots of pictures of each other. Please do that. They are important mementos for you to carry away from here to remind you of being at Guelph and what it means to be one of this herd of people. And I'm sure that you will be just like other alumni who will come back for Alumni Weekend, which we're going to have shortly, and you'll draw out those photographs and you will look at each other and say, you haven't changed a bit. And this year we'll actually have people who are coming back 60 years after they graduated, which is quite incredible. And I'm sure they will do the, did I really have my hair that long so that I had to flick it out when the hood was put on? Did I wear those ridiculously high-heeled shoes to try and walk across the stage? And I'm not sure what the girls will be saying. Take lots of pictures. Please, though, before you leave, return your gowns, either to the tent behind where you collected them from, or you can drop them off at the Science Complex. We are doing 20 of these ceremonies this week, and that means that there are a whole group of people waiting outside in that direction, wanting to come in. And I do fear for the future in terms of your lives if you get crushed by the people coming in for the next session. So please could you exit by the doors on either side here fairly swiftly after the procession has left the stage. I celebrate and salute your successes, and I wish you every success in the future. Thank you.
Convocation is dismissed.
But we do ask you to try to turn it down as quickly as possible. That's the tanks. The next year does as good as you guys. So, again, congratulations. You survived. Give yourself a round of applause.